Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being on my channel where we are talking about the multi-dimensional approach to rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. And today I want to talk about protecting your energy around narcissists and energy vampires really, right? So there's a few things I'd like to say on this. One is I teach people how to become energetically resilient, right? Which is part of the processes I teach on the channel. It's also what's in my program Sovereign. But that means that you don't feel sucked into other people's energy in the same way by strengthening your energy field, right? Because although there is the law of attraction, and you could say, well, which is part of it, if I change my point of attraction, I won't attract negative or those types of people to an extent, apart from we live on a planet where there's everything. And so it's not always that you're attracting them, it's just that they're around. If you go to the grocery store, it's not law of attraction bringing the narcissist to you, they're going to exist there. You're going to feel their energy, especially if you're empathetic or energetically attuned. So the first thing I want you to know is I'm a highly sensitive empath. Like my sensitivity is really high. So that can be a hard road for people who aren't taught energetics. I wasn't, and then I actually grew up around narcissists, so this was like even more mind blowing. But the thing that not just highly sensitives and empaths will do, that you will do to some level too, no matter where you are on the spectrum, is absorb other people's energy, right? Children will do it. Children will do it when they're brought up in difficult households, and depending on their level of empath and level of sensitivity, it will be even higher. Children will do it when parents are rowing, or there's a lot of anger. They'll try and absorb the energy, literally absorb the energy. Animals do it. When I was with my last ex-narcissist, I made the video yesterday about when they discard you for the next one. I mean, he came back several times, by the way. They always come back, so you want to be energetically strong. By the time he'd come back, I'd broken the trauma bond. Yeah? Not today, Satan. Go back to the devil where you came from. So when I was with him, though, one of my dogs is particularly empathetic. The other one is still beautiful, and he's got empathy. He's a sweetie. But he doesn't absorb. My other one's really empathetic. He's the kind of dog where I've been in hotels and a guy's come up to me and said, I think that dog just read my soul. And I'm thinking, you have no idea who we are. We're all kind of, my dogs are kind of spiritually attuned as well. We're all connected, aren't we? I'm like, yeah, I didn't know what to say to that. I was like, he's just very empathetic, thinking, yeah, he's deep. This dog is deep. So he developed a big cancerous lump on his paw in my last narcissistic relationship. I left that relationship at that point. He was given 6 months to live by the doctor. If he had high levels of radiation and cancer therapy, I tuned into it. It was so upsetting to me. I mean, oh my gosh. And I chose not to have any treatment on him. I knew he was absorbing the energy of the relationship. I knew I had to get the demon out of my life on so many levels. It was sticky. I just made all these extra commitments financially. Anyway, we left. And my dog is years later, and he's absolutely fine. He hasn't had any treatment like that. I gave him a bit of Benadryl sometimes for allergy with it. But that lump I had removed, he has got no cancer in his body. I did some energy work with him, but he also energetically recalibrated. I knew what was happening. I'm not saying people are going to get cancer. I'm not saying your children and animals will get sick in these environments, right? My animals are quite unusual like me, right? They were... but, I am saying that this happens on some level to everyone, yeah? That, children and animals especially would absorb energy. Our sicknesses, our illnesses is not our true nature, which means that our environments do make us sick. There are countless examples of people who have got physically sick, autoimmune, various sicknesses being in these environments. I said yesterday to Claudia on the channel, if you think about soil and if you wanted to plant a flower, right? If you give it no sunshine and toxic, dirty water, how well is it going to grow? It's going to get sick. That's our situation with a narcissist. So the first thing to know is you're going to naturally absorb energy. You're going to feel this when people come at you, right, where probably they're just stressed, they don't know how to regulate. We've all done it, I've done it, where like they just kind of dump everything on you, right? But you feel the energy hit and you've taken it on. And your day's not quite the same because now you're kind of dealing with all these uncomfortable emotions, right? So first thing, just know that I'm not a sponge and I don't absorb. I've helped people with energetic resilience, highly sensitives, that couldn't go out to music, concerts, that kind of stuff, because that, you know, that at one point could have been me. So I made sure I learned how to do this. So that I don't absorb as much as possible. For me personally, it's very hard for me not to absorb unless well, it was at one point in my life. It's not now, right? It's not now. So just be mindful that you don't want to absorb it. I teach you consent at the highest level all the time. You just be mindful that you're not there to absorb it. Otherwise, you might automatically absorb the energy. It's an energetic universe, but you have an energetic field. If you can get it strong and resilient, I do have tools on here and in my program, then like you won't just naturally absorb it. So then you know, are consciousness of what's going on. So just know that especially if you've grown up in volatile environments, you might as a child have done this, absorb the energy. You might want to do it, you might automatically do it around people in conflict, that kind of stuff where you feel uncomfortable. A lot of empaths will do this, they'll absorb the energy. So I want you to not absorb the energy. Yeah? And use the tools to strengthen your field that I've taught, like, what have I got on here? I have got some energy tools and stuff, but anything, you know, again, that's kind of in my softening process, but like, just be aware that you don't want to absorb it. Some people are going to want to throw that energy on you. If you can imagine that you've got like a virtual energetic postage stamp the whole time, and all you need is this pause, always, where there's this awareness of what's going on energetically, not just what's going on in the physical. In fact, what's going on in the physical in people's words is a tiny percentage of what's going on. What's going on energetically is the real thing. Someone could be lying out of their mouth, but actually if you're attuned to the energy and not getting in the fog and the brainwash, you'll see what's really going on. What the narcissist does is, like I say, they shut down your third eye, your intuition, your crown. They get you in this enmeshment, so you're not trusting your other senses. And I said to you before, like as a psychic, I can't read them. Why? Soul detached. There ain't nothing to read. It's an entity of consciousness that I'm not attached to. So they haven't got the same things for me to tune into. Not that I'd want to either. Yeah? So like, if you're out of your senses, you're going to rely on logic. That's how a narcissist keeps brainwashing you. Yeah? And that's how you get under these high levels of manipulation, which I was under in my relationships, right? With the narcissist. So like, I'm only relying on my cognitive brain, which is being messed with, my subconscious, my conscious, that's constantly being manipulated and toyed with and trauma shocked and then toyed with and nervous system toyed with. And, you know, so you're completely out of sorts rather than in your sensory body. So you want this pause. You really want to be in your energetic body more than in the words. Yeah? Unless you're writing a contract or something like that. The words of reading a book, that's fine. But like with people, you want to be much more sensory and not absorb. The minute you feel you're absorbing too much, it's taking you out of your energy, you're feeling off. But you've got to put your hands there, like I teach you. I've got to go. I understand you're going through a hard time. I hope you work it out. I need to go. If you can't, because this is going to cost you your energetic field. Your energetic field is everything to manifest, it's everything to feel good. And sometimes if you've absorbed too much, you can take, you know, you'll take all day. Empaths, people, sensitives often feel like they can't be around people because they just can't stop absorbing. So don't be a sponge. You've got this energetic postage stamp, send it back. You can say, send it back to where it belongs. I send it back. You can go further, but if you go further, you'll be probably trying to transmute it, which is what I used to do with people all the time, trying to transmute all the energy. And honestly, it's not our job because you have to work in consent and free will. And we want to stay focused on our own purpose, really, and how to elevate consciousness for ourselves and for each other in the best way, which isn't to get sucked into people who are, they're not asking us to heal them. So I don't transmute, I just send it back, not mine, send it back whether it belongs. right? Could be back to sender. You've got an energetic postage stamp on you at all times, back to sender. The other thing people talk about a lot is protection, right? Energy protection. Now, I've helped sensitives and empaths for a long time because I am one. But what I found in my life was, I teach people, I teach you in Sovereign as well, I do not want to live my life on this planet in defense mode. I wouldn't want to wake up in the morning, have to do hours of protection meditations to feel safe in the world. So I actually get my energy field strong, which I teach people how to do, which it is, and then I just intend, right, to be protected. You might say a prayer for that. You can do it in any way that feels good to you. If you like, I've used before like a 10-minute meditation that's like a bubble around you, or some kind of energetic protection that you like to listen to that makes you feel good, then do it. Here's what I'd tell you about protection stuff. Use intention, get a strong energy field, and only do what feels good. As soon as you're doing things that are going to set you off because you feel like they're a prop that you need, and if you don't do it, you're under attack in the world, then we're not playing in the right area. We've got to work on your energy field, because feeling like if I don't do these 10 rituals, I'm going to be under a spiritual attack and people can come at me and I'm not going to be safe in the world and I can't go out, then you're living in a place where we need to change that, because it's a limiting way of life. And that's what I teach people to do, because that's how I had to do. I didn't want to live like that. You know, I used to fly around the world in my job. This is years ago now. But I mean, I was on planes. I was all over the place, you know, as a highly sensitive. So like moving time zones is disruptive for the system. And I'm highly sensitive, being around all people on planes, different countries, but I wanted to do it. So I had to learn these principles, you know, as an empath quite a long time ago. And I started teaching them. So energy field strong. And if you like to, I mean, just a simple prayer, yeah? Being conscious and aware, postage stamp, back to sender, that's not mine. When you start feeling something in your body and you're feeling icky, you know it's not yours a lot of the time. That's not mine. And remember, I keep teaching you, when you have got an emotion, you process your emotion first, then you think. So like, even if something comes up, it's not like, the first response is allowing, having an energetic capacity to be able to process emotions, so we can actually let them flow through, so they can pass through quicker, and then we can look at why was I thinking that. Yeah, but the first thing you've got to know is it yours? In a narcissistic relationship, they are putting on thick fear, poverty, loss, fear of loss, lack, so that you live in this constant cycle of no possibility, no potential, no way of getting out, fearing everything, lack of everything. You're going to run out of everything, love, money, security, without them, keeping you in a cycle. That's the energy they're putting in. That gets in your field, right? One tried to do it to me recently. That gets in your field. You're going to start like feeling out of your abundance, out of your possibilities, out of your field. Give that energy back. If there is something you need to talk about, can we get to the point? We need to be talking about this today. They want, but all these vibrations, and they're going to be thick. I'm saying it like that because that's how I see it. I feel it in the energy. It's like we should be in our little energetic bubble, and then they go vibrationing in the lock, in the lack. So like they're putting that on you because they're bringing up things that you're not meant to be talking about. I understand you're having a hard day. I've got to go soon. Can we talk about this? If you need to know something. I understand what you're saying. Hand up really helps people know. Push the energy back, postage stamp back, return to sender. I understand you're having a hard day. I need to just know, and go. Right? No more energetic dumping. No more like I'm a threat walking around the world. I had a beautiful message today in my program where someone was saying they're out around someone that they couldn't get around enjoying their own space. A lot of my clients will say like neighbours are oppressive, or people in their environment or their work environment, and we work through that stuff. Sovereign is the thing for this. Please come in. Or if you desire to have like a sovereign life, to be working on your manifestation, strengthening your field, have a beautiful process and come into a beautiful community, please do with me in May. We're starting on Monday, but you can you'll be able to join next week. Please come in if you can, if you desire it, because honestly, it's going to be such a beautiful experience. And it's all about you, and it's nothing icky in that course. It's such a beautiful process. Like, you will be surprised about how you can drop trauma in a way that doesn't make you feel heavy. That's what we do there. It's moving, but it's like, yeah, it doesn't take you into any depths of anything. It's not hard work in that way. It's stuff that we do that takes you through an ascension process. I love you. Thank you for being here. Lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon.